Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the 5-Minute Leader. Today I want to talk to you about the difference between person A and person B. So, as you may or may not know, I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old son, and my daughter is going to be turning 9 actually very soon. And school is starting, and when school starts, kids as they are, they get very focused on who their teachers are going to be. And so my daughter's having conversations with me, and she'll say, I want this teacher because everybody says this person is easy and they're very cool and they don't give a lot of homework. And nobody wants this teacher because this teacher is very mean and strict and harsh. And it turns out that my daughter got the teacher who's very strict and mean and harsh, or so her reputation would say that that's the kind of person that she is. And my daughter was very upset. She was very upset because she didn't get this easy, cool teacher where some of her friends are. And, she got this really strict, hard teacher. And I drew a little graph for my daughter, and I told her about the difference between person A and person B. And I'm actually going to show you literally what I drew for her. It's got some, oil stains on it or whatever it is, but this is exactly what I drew for her. So let me hold this up here. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. So when she was very upset, I drew this for her and I said, you can decide what kind of a person you want to be. You can either be person A or person B. What's the difference between person A and person B? And I'm going to put this down now so I can talk to you more, but at least you can get this idea in your head. So person B is the type of person who's always looking for the easy teacher. They are always wanting the cool teacher, the teacher that doesn't give them a lot of homework. I told Naomi, my daughter, that when they go to chess tournaments, this is the person who always wants to play people who are lower rated than them so that they can get the win. In karate tournaments, which my daughter also does, this is the person who always wants to fight people one belt below them just so they could say that they could win. In tennis, which again, also my daughter does, this is the person who always wants to play somebody who's just a little bit worse than them so that they can say that they win. And there are some people in life who always want that. They always want the easy teacher. They always want the cool teacher. They always want the one who's going to give them less homework. They always want to compete against people who are slightly worse than them. They want kind of the easy route. And it might seem like that is a good path to take until you are faced with the reality of the world. So in school, and I was telling my daughter this, I said, what do you think is going to happen to somebody when their whole life they go through the easy teachers, the less hard work, the less homework, and then they're faced with the reality of going out in the world, of getting a job, of starting a business, of working for a company? How do you think that person is going to adapt? And my daughter says, well, that person is probably not going to be prepared because they're going to have a hard time. They're not going to know what to do. And I said, yeah, that's person B. And it's not that person B is a bad person. Some of my daughter's friends are going to be person Bs and some will be person As. And I said, all right, now let's talk about person A. Person A is the one who wants the hard teacher. Person A is the one who, when they go to a chess tournament, they want to play somebody who's better than them. When they're doing a karate tournament, they want to fight somebody who is a higher rated belt than them. Person A is the one who's going to want to work harder. Person A is the one who is not going to be scared of challenges. Person A is not going to be worried about what other people think of them. They're not going to care about other people's opinions. And person A is ultimately going to be the person who changes the world. And person B is going to end up working for person A. And so I drew this little graph for my daughter and I said, you need to decide right now what kind of a person you want to be. I'll love you the same regardless, but do you want to be person B, who's going to maybe have it a little bit easier in life and might not be as successful? Or do you want to be person A, who's going to work hard, who's going to be challenged more, who's going to be pushed, who might have to make sacrifices or who will make sacrifices, but in the end of the day, who will become a more successful person, who will have more purpose, who will make more change, who will have a greater impact in the world? And I said, Naomi, what kind of a person do you want to be? And again, I said, I'll love you regardless of what you pick, but this is a conversation I want you to remember for the rest of your life, and you need to tell me what kind of a person you want to be. And she looked at this for a minute, she looked at the chart, and she said, I want to be person A. And I said, great. Well, then if you want to be person A, then you should not be worried about having the hard teacher. You should not be worried about competing in tournaments where people are better than you. You should not be worried about challenging yourself. You should not be worried about making sacrifices. These are not things that should upset you if you mentally decide that that's the type of person you want to be, if you want to be person A. And I think this is very, very relevant for leadership and for career success in general. So my question for all of you is, do you want to be person B or person A? Again, there's nothing wrong with being person B. There's nothing wrong with being person A. Some people just don't have it in them to be person A. They want the easier path. They always want to work from home. They want to put in 32, maybe 40 hours a week. That's just their comfort level. They don't have these aspirations of becoming top executives at organizations. They just want to do what it is that they're doing. And then there are other people out there who want to be person A. They want to run a company. They want to build a business. They don't care about how many hours they're putting in. They're happy to show up to the office. They're happy to get dressed. They want that visibility. They want that time in front of their leaders. They don't care about this other stuff. They want to be person A because they have the ability to look long term. They have the ability to see 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the future, and they know how they want to end up. So do you want to be person B or do you want to be person A? If you want to be person B, totally cool. Accept it. Embrace it. Go on that path. If you want to be person A, then once you decide you want to be person A, be prepared to work your ass off. Be prepared to put in the time. Be prepared to be challenged, to make sacrifices, to push yourself, to be upset, to get frustrated, to get angry, to sometimes feel like you want to give up, but knowing that you are working on that path towards greater success, greater purpose, greater impact, and greater leadership. So if you want to be person A, be prepared for the journey. If you want to be person B, keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, and I wish you all the best. So let me know what you think of the difference between person A and person B. Leave me a comment in this video. I'm very curious to hear what you think.